we had a band that played with just about everyone you could think of that was famous during that time. They had a place in Stamford called Carpenter's Hall, and another place in Norwalk called, what was it, where the theater was at? The Forest Hotel.
Forest Hotel.
And James Brown, Little Willie John, Big May Bell, all the great people that were doing it at that time came to those places. What happened, I'll never forget it, I started out with the Rock and Royalists, Bobby Burgess. Shout. I don't know if you remember the tune Shout. That's the Isley Brothers.
Yeah, that was one of the big hits.
That was the biggest hit.
Yeah, during that time.
You make me wanna shout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Up and shout. Throw my head up and shout.
Okay.
All right. They came into the Forest Hotel and the place was packed. Of course, they wanted to see Isley Brothers. Their record had hit #1 and it stayed up there for weeks. But the only thing about it, they came out, Shout won. They did Shout won. Then they took a break. And if it wasn't for us being there in a little amateur band, which we thought we were, we played for the people, dancing music and stuff like that. Here comes the Isley Brothers again. Shout 2. That's all they had at the time. A lot of people don't know this. But if it wasn't for the band being there, us being there at the time, we were young kids really. And Big May Bell was also on the ticket. And we played behind Big May Bell, and she was a hell of a blues singer. But again, they came out to see the Isley Brothers to do Shout. But all they had at that time was Shout 1 and Shout 2. And here we ended up doing the whole gig. That's, musicians call that not a job, but a gig. And from then, we left there and we went on the road a little while. We played behind B.B. King. What was B.B. King's brother's name? Albert King.
Yeah.
We also played behind him. We played all the colleges from, up in Vermont, even in New Haven and stuff. Every weekend we were at the college playing different campuses, and they always hired a big name. But that big name had to have a band. Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman, we were the band that played behind him. And it's so funny, I used to say this and I still say this. People forget about the band. You would not go to a dance without a band. You would not go see a great singer without a band. But we never got, our full rights to say, well, hey man, the band is what's doing it. Even today, when you have your rap music, what is it? You got your drum beat and the bass. You take that away, the rappers ain't nothing. You still need your musicians. So what happened when we were on the road, and I mentioned this one time before, and you know about this, about being a singer. The singers belong to a different union. If they got sick, they got paid still. Musicians, we got sick, we didn't get paid. Only thing we had was life insurance. But what good is that going to do? You're 6 feet under. And so what happened, musicians started to say, hold it a second. Maybe I can tell a joke, because this includes the people, the comics. They were in the same guild as the singers. So musicians start saying, damn, if I can tell a joke and become funny, now I can join their guild. So now if I get sick, I'm covered. So now you find a lot of singers today, they play instruments. And they probably started out playing an instrument, but they figured it out. Hey, I'm not going to just belong to the musicians union, I'm going to belong to both. So in other words, I got my life insurance, I'm also covered if I get sick. And then I started singing. I'll never forget, there's a tune, you remember this tune, Mashed Potatoes.
Yeah.
I did mashed potatoes. All of a sudden I hear it, it's being played on the radio and stuff. Was doing that time, man. If you did a song, you better not do it in a club. Because somebody else heard it, and if they had money, they took that song.
Not if you didn't have it copyrighted.
If you didn't have it copyrighted or nothing like that, you lost.
And the thing about it is, people, it's so simple to do, to have something copyrighted. All you have to do is send it to Washington. And it was at that time, it was a small fee that you had to pay, which I don't know what the fee is now, because I'm sure that it went up tremendously. But, you know, that's all you had to do.
But
and
we
most
didn't
people,
know that.
Yeah, most people didn't know anything
no.
about it. They just recorded the tune and somebody would take it, copyright it, and put it out, and that was it.
Remember King Curtis?
Yeah.
One of the baddest horn men. Because you had Junior Walker in the All-Stars. He sounded like King Curtis. And yet, there was a song called Sweet Potato Pie. It's another song I wrote. Before I knew it, it was being played on the air. And King Curtis was blowing it on his sax. I didn't get no credit for it.
What year was this?
Oh man, this was around 59, 60, around that time, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Close, yeah, about 59 up to 1970 or something like that, in that era. Because I was still on the road in the 70s. And Benny King, he used to be with the Drifters. And then he left the Drifters. In fact, he was in Bridgeport.
They fired him.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but he made a lot of different tunes. Stand By Me
well,
and everything.
That's what happened. They were on the road and he got fired something. I don't know what the reason was, but he got fired, and the next thing you know, somebody came up with this tune, Stand By Me, and he recorded the tune. I don't know the circumstances behind it, but he recorded that tune and never looked back from that.
Mm-hmm. Under the
But they actually fired him.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people around still, they know him. Of course, like I said, he was in Bridgeport a couple of months ago. I tried to get up to see him, but I missed him. Millie Jackson, being a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And who else? Oh yeah, Chuck Jackson, I Don't Want to Cry. We played behind them.
Yeah.
They had a thing, I should have brought it. It was a magazine of Pleasure Beach. And the first band I ever sat in and played behind, that was Fats Domino. What was it? I Found the Thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill.
Yeah. Then also there was Muddy Waters. We were at a place in Freeport, Long Island, the Celebrity Club. Here comes Muddy Waters in there. I'm trying to think of, I seen her on television today. Oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. A hell of a blues singer. Well anyway, Muddy Waters was on the ticket. And I remember him coming up on the stage, and my buddy John Myles. He said, okay man, what key? Muddy looked at him and said, I don't know, follow me. It was just, you know, we didn't go to school for the stuff. We were gifted. We didn't know anything about no keys or nothing like that. And he played guitar, and we played behind Muddy Waters.
Well, Muddy
John
don't
Lee
know too
Hooker.
much about keys and stuff.
And John
he
Lee
just played. That's it.
Right. John Lee Hooker. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Oh yeah, like you seen on that thing I gave you with the Temptation. We were at the place, they call it the Pit. A lot of people call it Motown, but we call it the Pit. And when you came in, you walked down, and it had dirt floor and stuff. Stevie Wonder, Mary Wells. Oh my gosh, who helped Michael Jackson?
Quincy Jones?
Quincy Jones.
No, not only Quincy, the girl, there was the singer. They're with the group. Oh my gosh. Who was the most famous singing group? Diana Ross and the Supremes. And you know, we were at there, and it was a thing to where you got there and you played, you felt like you were at home. And people say to me a lot today, you know, you play with all these famous people, but to us, they weren't famous. It was like me talking to you right now. You're my buddy. We sit down, we're playing cards together, we're eating together, and we never thought of each other as being famous.